Guys, it's Carter. Welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video, we are going to be talking about the top 3 indicators you need for your swing trades in 2024 so we all can make as much money as possible. Whether you're making $10 a day or $500 a day, these are going to be the strategies and the indicators that I've used for over 6 years. Now, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Carter. I've been a full-time trader in the stock market for 6 years. And with that being said, we do have an amazing school where I teach people my strategies, my mindset, how I find stock and opportunity every single day. So make sure you guys check it out down below, Swing Trading Masterclass, and you guys can use code YouTube, all caps, to get 20% off. So guys, let's jump into this. Let's go. All right, so starting off with is what is the broker that I use? So the broker I use for all of my indicators is Moomoo. They're absolutely fantastic, and the reason why I love them is they do offer great indicators, good charting, and they offer paper trading. So if you're just starting out and just learning, paper trading is using simulated money to develop a strategy or a game plan so you can make, more money down the road because you understand what you're doing. It will really cut down that learning curve, and I'll put a link to it down below. So if you guys want to sign up, you know where to click. So let's jump into this here. So what is swing trading? Well, in simple terms, swing trading is when you buy a stock, you hold it for more than one day, but less than 1 year. When you buy and sell a stock during the same trading day, it's a day trade. When you buy, a stock, you hold it for more than a year. That's a long-term investment. On average, I do hold my swing trades anywhere from 6 to 9 days. There will be times where I buy it today, sell it tomorrow, and then there's going to be times where I buy it today and hold it for a couple of months. It literally all depends on the stock and strategy that I have with it. If I'm looking to sell quick, I'll always make sure I have that, accordingly in my strategies. So what indicators do I use? So this is a very, very common question I get asked. And for me, I use pretty much the code MISS. Make it simple, stupid. Personally, I don't like to have too many indicators where I get overwhelmed and confused. Having simple indicators that you understand is going to be a lot better than having, hundreds of them on your chart and be overwhelmed or confused. So the indicators I use, honestly, are very, very simple. The first one that you guys will notice here are these lines. Now, these lines here was on a more recent swing trade that I took, was on BLND, and what we have is the red and then the blue. These are what we call moving average lines. Moving average lines, pretty much in simple terms, you can look at it and get the overall direction of the stock, so you guys can see that it was once going down a downward trend, and now it's starting to come up to an upward trend. So we had, a possible reversal. On top of that here, one thing you guys may notice is when the stocks are below it here, they act as resistance. So what resistance is where we see a lot of tendency of getting selling pressure. So as we look at it, you guys can see it hits it and we just get natural tendencies, of it getting, selling pressure there. Once it breaks above it, you guys will notice that it actually starts using it as support. So when the stock is below it, it uses it as resistance. When it's above it, it uses it as support. So you guys will even notice that we have the blue and the red. Now, the blue one is the 90-day moving average line. The red is the 200-day moving average line. The higher up you go, so like the 90 is in the 200. The 200 is going to act as a harder support or resistance than the 90. Now, the 20 moving average line isn't going to act as, a strong support compared to the 90. It all comes down, to the number you have and pretty much how you go about, integrating them. I'll show you because it takes literally 2 seconds. Click that gear icon, manage indicators, EMA. And you guys can add and adjust them accordingly here. So like I mentioned, you guys will see that actually, since we were talking about when the stock being below it, it acts as, resistance. So you guys can see it even comes in contact with this red here several times before we get that breakout. So it breaks out and then recently came back in contact with that 90 moving average line, which we understand it has support on it, right? It hits it several times, establishing support. So once it hits it again, we execute, we hop in near and around this $2.21, obviously selling at resistance, which is above $2.95. So this is an absolute fantastic strategy and fantastic indicators that you guys should and will implement in your strategy here. So I use the 90 and the 200. Some people use the 60 and the 250. Whatever works well for you, that's the one I recommend. So the next one here, the next indicators I use is actually the RSI lines. The RSI stands for the Relative Strength Index. This determines in simple terms if the stock's overvalued or undervalued. And historically, when a stock is pretty much below like a 30 or even a 35, that's considered undervalued and could be a possible reversal coming. So let me show you what I mean by that. So you guys can see, I drew out this line down here on the bottom, and this was at a 31 on the RSI. So it came in contact with it, and you guys can see it came in contact and we got buying pressure. Look at the chart, it came in contact with it and we got buying pressure, okay? So anything under a 31 should act as support. So let's continue to look and see what we got. So you guys can see it hits it here. We did get this little move, which may look little, but this is actually going from $1 to about $1.20, which is about a 20% return. It just looks small just compared to these swings. As we continue to go out, you guys can see the stock went from 52 all the way up to $1.15. So looking back, at previous history is a great way to determine or get a general idea of how the stock reacts to certain indicators. It's a little thing that I always highly recommend doing. And another thing that I always like to do here is I like to customize them. So some people really like to have, green or blue or whatever it may be. Personally, I always like to have green just because it's a lot easier on my eyes. And then I like to have red and then blue just because I can understand and instantly look at it and understand what the stock is doing. A lot of people ask me, they say, Carter, how long do you evaluate a stock before you buy it? On average, I will say I do look back at a variety of charting. So what I will most likely do before I buy a position is I look at the daily. So each candlestick represents one day. So I can get a general idea of support, as well as I go to the weekly here. So you guys can see each candlestick represents 1 week. It definitely had huge amounts of sell-off here, and it actually started working its way up. So you guys can look, the stock has been going from about 52 cents all the way up to the 90-day moving average line, which acts as what? Resistance. So that is why we haven't had great success, as of recently, because the stock is already squeezed up. Now it's using it as resistance. And the higher up you go, you guys can see how separated, I guess, these moving average lines get, and that's just because of the time frame. So having a good time frame is very, very important. Even if we go to like the hourly chart, moving average lines will still act as support and resistance. It just, the swings are a lot faster. So you guys can see, like, even in here, you guys can see it hits it as support several times. And this is how people day trade, is by looking at these indicators. So having good indicators that you understand is a lot more important than having a bunch of them on here. So some of the things that I would recommend doing is making your charting super easy on your eyes, because you're going to be evaluating a lot of stocks. So that's why I have colors that I personally like looking at and understanding. So guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed this. If you guys did, hit that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my swing trading school where I teach you how to trade. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.